Hello, Internet, and welcome to another Wednesday Serial DC Quick Take. I'm going to be talking about Green Arrow 41 and 42. This is actually interesting because it's actually a legit three-parter with the starting of a new team, which is an interesting way to start things. This three-parter is called the Nightbirds, and Piercy and Zurcher Teb, probably saying that wrong, but I'm interested. Immediately, I'm intrigued for a lot of things around this comic, but not so much the comic itself. So what's really great is we start off and it's a relatively small inner city deal. We actually don't see much Green Arrow action the first issue at all, which I think for a new creative team jumping on, not having much Green Arrow in your first issue is risky, especially because they're doing a lot of slow build with kind of more inner city stuff. Green Arrow ends up saving a dog from a dogfight, and that's interesting to me because it's so like I like smaller stories, but compared to where we've been with superhero comics for so long, it feels like such a small thing to be in, which in a way is fascinating itself, and that's where it's intriguing me, right? Like it's this smaller story, and it's Green Arrow dealing with the city, and it's and there's apparently this conspiracy, and there's this weird drone robot thing, and so we're talking about that as well, which seems so perfect for a Green Arrow thing, and all that's great, and I feel like the plotting's there, as far as it being, like a comic layout pages. There's nothing special, but there's enough there that I feel like it's serviceable. I mean, as a comic book, it's not breaking any new ground, I feel, but it's going back to some... It's not really going back to any direct roots of Green Arrow, but it's kind of going back to more of a time period of comics where Green Arrow is more relevant, yet being relevant for today with drones and whatnot. But 3 issues for a story, very small scale, and I'm sure things will build and whatnot, but it it feels like a comic from yesteryear. It feels like comics before the corporate takeover took over. This felt like a comic book for comic book fans. And so I'm excited by all that. But what pulls me back is that the writing is a bit stale. The way people talk is awkward. And there's some that I'm willing to let go. Like there's a part where they have some highfalutin name for the device that Green Arrow is going to fight, and the kid knows the definition offhand, and it's this 13th century penitentiary ideal architectural thing. So of course the kid would know that. Haha, I get it. It's kid genius sort of deal. But then Ollie just kind of doesn't sound like Ollie. It just kind of sounds like a gruff hero type, which at this point, I guess that's where we're at with Green Arrow. It's not really the Ollie that a lot of us know with the beard and the history. Um, it's an interesting take, and I think it needs time to grow, and it's definitely going to be a slow burn. I'm just hoping that that burn flares up and pays off in a way, and doesn't just kind of have this ho hum as we go along. And when I say home, I'm not talking about the scale. I'm talking about just the general lack of passion, I guess, which this comic seems to be kind of lacking. So I'm really hoping this one can pick up. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with this one. Hopeful.